We're not here to ride the trends down. So if you buy in and it turns against you, you start losing money, you have to cut it at one point. You have to take a small loss, get out, regroup, try again to get in. Don't hold all the way down and then sell months later when you lost 80% of the holding or something. Could that happen? It can always happen.
And yeah, CTO Larson said it correctly. It is important that as time goes on, we take profits. But the question then becomes, well, when we're investing into these things, when is it appropriate for Bitcoin and when is it altcoin season? So let's take a look at that. So welcome everybody to the Sunday live stream. Before we get started, I want to say thanks to everybody who watched yesterday's video featuring one of our own community members, Beardy Day, where he lost essentially his entire life savings by an AI scam. I had never heard of this specific type of scam before. And it was important that everybody knows exactly what is going on. So there's a link in the description for that video. I'm going to condense that video to make it very much more easier to watch, maybe knock it down like 3 to 4 minutes. But again, it's not how much you make during these investment periods, it's how much you keep. And if you made a 100, 1000x type of profit and never sold and unfortunately lost it to scammers, how much did you make? 0.0%. So I am begging, I am imploring you to watch yesterday's video. I almost got 50,000 views on that one. I think it's important. So check that one out. Links in the description. So let's get to it, shall we? Today has been quite a good day. Actually, this last 48, 72 hours has been pretty good. I mean, we've seen Bitcoin rally over 7 days, almost 5%, Ethereum 3% over 7 days, Solana almost at 10%, and XRP Army. And I got to tell you, if anybody needs a win besides Beardy, it would be XRP and the XRP Army. Congratulations, everybody. 10% for 7 days. Pretty good. Congratulations. Dogecoin, 20%. Just across the board, we see a little bit of a nice price appreciation. And remember, we are coming into what I think is a nice liquidity run. We just talked about this on NFA Live with Guy and Ben. Talked about how China and their M2 money supply they're actually increasing that. We've seen that the Fed has cut rates. There are plans to cut rates again in November and December. I see that between 100 basis points to a total of 150 basis points or 1.5%. And then, of course, over here in the States, we're looking at more quantitative easing, which would mean more liquidity into the market. So things are looking pretty good. And the whole thing about this is October. And we can see that historically, and everybody's gonna be talking about this. They're gonna talk about this today. They're gonna talk about it tomorrow. They're gonna definitely talk about it on Tuesday when we break everything off. But we can just see that, taking a look at the monthly returns for Bitcoin. Let's just take a look at October. There's only been 3 months out of the last 14 years or so where it's been in the red. It is one of the, if not, I want to say it is the best month, historically speaking, for price appreciation for Bitcoin. Now, just because it goes up in 1 month or it has historically been that way does not mean it will keep that way. I will remind you that September of last year, when I started doing shows specifically about showing how much I had invested into as far as altcoins and Bitcoin and dollar cost averaging, I picked September to start because September is historically a really bad month for price appreciation as it depreciates. And we can see that historically speaking, September is an awful month, not just for crypto, but in the traditional markets themselves. But for some reason, 2023, we had a positive 4%. There was rumblings of a Bitcoin ETF and then it shot up almost 29%, 87%. Oh, no, I take that back. That was beforehand. No, that is actually true. 29%, 9% in November, December, January, we got the ETF. And of course, 43% is when we went off the races with that ETF. So could October be massive? It's looking pretty good. And all the talk about recession, you may have noticed, is kind of like dwindled into the background. So we'll see how it goes. But that is just one piece to look at. But you're like, Rob, that's great. But I got a bunch of altcoins. That's okay. I do too. It's all right. What if we just took a look at one of the big indicators for Ethereum? How does it fare on October? Pretty damn well. Pretty darn well. We can see that in 2023, almost 9%, 13%, and 11%. And we can see that historically speaking, that it's only had two years or 2 monthly frames over the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, a decade, roughly a decade. It's been mostly green. And then last year, green and green. Well, what about other stuff? What about like, let's just take like BNB, and congratulations to CZ Binance for getting out of jail. Coincidence as the bull run starts? I think not. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't really make a difference. But again, BNB, October, fantastic. What about Solana? It's a mixed bag, but I mean, I'll take the 80% increase in 2023 as opposed to the negative 1%. And remember last year, November, December, also very good. But 2022, which was a brutal year because why? 4-year cycles are intact. 2021 was our all-time high. Then we get what we call a dip, then a reset. And that is essentially what happened with Solana. What about, I don't know, let's say XRP. XRP is a weird one because thanks to Gary Gensler on the SEC, it kind of screwed with them. But not too great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's had more, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This month will actually be positive. So if you think about it, they're actually running at a 50%. And that's with Gary Gensler cutting them off at the knees. What about, I'm looking for some people's favorite, Cardano. And Cardano is one of the outliers. October is not a great month for them. September is not a great month. Heck, a lot of months are not good for Cardano if you can take a look at it. But last year, green, green, green. Wow, 58% in December of 2023. I'll take it. And this year, it's been 6 out of 3. I mean, you're looking at 66% of the time. This has not been looking too good, except for last month, 17%. I think, well, September so far is 17%. So we'll see how it goes. So again, I think October is going to be well, not just for Bitcoin, but for altcoins moving forward. But then you have to think to yourself, well, what kind of altcoins? Well, there's a whole bunch of them. I want to say there's thousands of them. And if you put meme coins in, there's about tens, almost hundreds of thousands of different meme coins that are out there. So which ones did I do? Which ones should I invest into? Well, I can't give you financial advice. I'm definitely not your dad. But I would start to look at those. There's 2 things I look at. One is which one of the assets are heavily, heavily undervalued. And the other one is which one of the assets have actually held up pretty well. Here's a funny thing. There's a great website, coingolive.com. And it takes a look at from the all-time high to the price drop and how far it's been away from its all-time high and the date of the all-time high. Everybody makes fun of Bitcoin as it's a slow mover. It doesn't really appreciate that much. And if you want to make a bunch of money, then you got to get into altcoins. Well, I got to tell you, that may be true going over time. But look at this. You know, the top 102, you know, the best performing digital asset as far as the percent drop or how far away it is to its all-time high is Bitcoin. The percent, actually, I'm looking at this one. The percent price drop since its all-time high is negative 10%. The one that comes closest to that, Solana, is almost 40% away. Toncoin, 29%. Tron, 32%. Which one? Is anyone close to it? Sui. Sui or Sui is negative 15%. And as a reminder, they were picked by Circle and USDC to be part of their stablecoin ecosystem and bring them into the fold. And that's why there's been a big pump. Also, it looks like a pretty good project. Now, there's other people out there that will disagree with me, but hey, you can't argue with price action. We'll see how it works out. Caspa, negative 21. That's a big one. What's this one? First Digital, no. USD, no. And we can see, unless it's wrapped something or other, so far it's Bitcoin, but you can see some winners out here, right? I would take a look at BNB, only 16%. Ex-CEO just got out of jail. Maybe there's something going on there. Solana, 40%, maybe. Dogecoin is down a massive amount. Toncoin, 29%. Tron, and I know people will laugh at Tron. For everybody who's laughing at Tron, I would urge you to go over to Coin Bureau. They did a great video. It's about 15, 16 minutes long or so about why Tron is so big. Did you know that with Tron, 50% of the stablecoins transactions are on the Tron rails? Yeah, who's laughing now? So we can see that there's quite a bit of price action. There's a heavy amount that you could take from this. But the question is when? Well, I got to tell you, the best time to probably get into alts, probably at their lows, obviously, right? But the second best time would be today. if you can think about what's going to happen in the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 and 12. This is Ben's website, as you all know very well, as I steal all his information. And there's a thing I'm looking at is called the Altcoin Season Index. And what this takes a look at is the Altcoin Season Index is defined as the amount of the top 50 altcoins that have a 90-day return of investment greater than Bitcoin, divided by the coins, in this case, 50. Now, what I want you to notice is this. Which ones of these have done better as far as ROI competing against Bitcoin itself? The last 90 days, you know, it's on a great piece. SUI, or SUI, I cannot call it SUI. Just I got to call it SUI. SUI is how you call pigs, but whatever. But if you take a look at, if you're from the Midwest, you know what I'm talking about. If you take a look at like the negative ROI, let's just start over here. Because these are the ones, of course, who knows, they pop off later, but these are the ones you might want to take a look at. Maybe these are distressed assets. Maybe there's something to them. Cosmos, Polygon, Toncoin, down 24% as compared to Bitcoin ROI. Ethereum, Hedera, Uniswap. Uniswap looks pretty good. Arbitrum, Chainlink, Ethereum Classic, maybe. Render, a great DPIN, Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Network project. Render, built on the Solana rails. Maybe that's something to look at. Caspa, and the guys over there at Sin City Crypto are big believers in that. Bitcoin Cash, Monero, Litecoin, Kronos, Filecoin, BChain, and Pepe, and Cardano. Look at Cardano, just negative 1%, just sitting there teetering. So which one of the ones that did well? Well, I mean, I'm a big investor into Ton. I think Ton's going to do quite well. I like Chainlink myself. I have a little Caspa. And, you know, I'm a fan of Cardano. But I got to tell you over here, Dogecoin, BNB. Again, BNB is only up 2% 90 days. Bitcoin, Near Protocol, good one. Solana, not bad. Optimism, Stellar. Shiba Inu, Stacks, great layer 2 solution. Smart contracts built on the Bitcoin rails. Immutable X, Aptos, I don't know. ICP, yeah. Tron, again, watch Coin Bureau's video on that one. The Artificial Super Intelligence Alliance, congratulations, you got a trophy for the longest crypto name of all time. And if you remember what that is, that would be, or we have Ocean Protocol, we have Singular, and we have Fetch AI as they come together to create the ASI. Not a bad one. XRP, Psi, Aave, BitTensor, and Sui. So again, taking a look at this, these are the ones that you might want to turn your attention to. But again, the last thing, the question is when? If you look historically speaking, going back, the best time was when everything bottomed out, obviously, right? But if you're taking a look at the Altcoin Season Index, like what they just talked about over the last 90 days as far as the ROI, when you take a look at this, it's kind of a lagging indicator. I'm going to show you why. Right now, as of currently, the latest value is 39.58. You know when that last time was? 39.58. Let's see if I can find it. Was as we were coming off some of the all-time highs. Take a look at this. If we take a look at 2021, these were nice times, right? Coming up here. Altcoin Season Index, 96. Ooh, that's pretty good. And then, of course, we got over August, September, October, November, right around here, 50. But you see it's kind of low in this Altcoin Season Index is because it always takes a look back 90 days. So the ROI, 90 days. You have to invest because you can't just invest at the all-time high. It doesn't make any sense. You got to start doing this stuff earlier. So the time when it topped out, which was this Altcoin Season Index, was 10th of September 2022. Altcoin Season Index was 100, meaning, hey, we're in the altcoin season. Yeah, but you had to have taken a bunch of buying opportunities beforehand. So let's just take this. Let's take 10th of September 2022. Let's go in the way back time machine called CoinMarketCap, historically speaking. I'll take 11th September 2022. Check this out. So when the Altcoin Season Index was at its highest, like, hey, it's altcoin season. Ethereum is $1,700. You're like, what? Do you know what the all-time high for Ethereum was? Let's just take a look at our chart. Ethereum, All-time high was November 10th, 2021, roughly a full year. You know what the price was? $4,800. Let's just round up to 5,000. So I'd be looking at this like, okay, the altcoin season index tells me that this was the peak time. No, it's not. It was time before. And there's different strategies you can do. Some people will say, well, I'm just going to dollar cost average. Some people I'm going to say I'm going to lump sum. Some people I'm going to do a trailing loss or trailing buys, whatever. But I'm just telling you that as time goes on, nothing goes in the dumps forever. Nothing chops sideways forever. And nothing, absolutely nothing goes up forever. But if we're taking a look at this historically priced and the altcoin season index, I can just tell you that this is not the time to be excited. The time to be excited was when everything's low. And it's a weird thing to say, but I think this is a time to really get behind and think to yourself, maybe I should be getting into alts if I haven't done so already. So that's where we have. But then last, I guess, question would be, where are we going? I like this one as well, and we show this many a time. ROI after cycle bottom. I take a look at the last 3 cycles. The last 3 cycle bottoms, January 2015, that's cycle 3. Cycle 4, 2018, and December. And of course, this last cycle, the cycle bottom was November 2022. So from this third cycle, when it went from 2015 to 2017, you know what the ROI for Bitcoin was? Essentially a 99x. No, excuse me. I stand corrected, 110x. But there are these things called diminishing returns, right? So we take a look at market cycle 4, which would be in green, going 2018 to 2021. How do we do? Not bad. 19x, 20x almost. Okay, I'll take that. And where are we at right now? Well, if we just zoom in to this purplish color, we were actually above everything not too long ago because of nice little action with the Bitcoin ETF. But you can see right here, we were right in between everybody. We're right in between cycle 3, right in between cycle 4. So again, if we're in somewhere in between 100x and 20x, maybe we get to 60x. I don't know. That seems kind of crazy. But even if we did 20x from here, what's the price today? Does anybody know? 60,000? Nah, there's no way it can go to 600. Hell, I'll take a 3x from here. But that's where we're at, and that's in Bitcoin. If you think Bitcoin's going to do well, where do you think altcoins are going to go? That's the last piece for the altcoin season index. It's up to you to decide. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. And then to move forward, Uptober, altcoins. So with altcoins, there is one thing to mention, World Mobile Token. I'm a big believer in this one. Again, DPIN and multi-chain. So World Mobile Token, just so you guys know, if you're into this, like I have some, and again, I'm super biased, so if I'm talking about it, I own it. You got 3 weeks. You got 3 weeks from tomorrow to transfer everything over because they're going multi-chain. So they were already in Binance Smart Chain. Then they were in Cardano. Now they have their own chain. And they just went over to Base, which is a pretty smart move because Base is one of the biggest movers in the L2 Ethereum EVM space. So I'll be covering this probably every other day just to remind people because you have to migrate them within 3 weeks or I believe it's gone. So it's going to be from World Mobile. World Mobile X represents migration to Base, Ethereum, and BNB chain, laying the foundation for World Mobile. Great. So you guys got it? I'll keep hammering this home so you don't forget. So just keep watching. I'll remind you. But taking a look at L2s is something to take a look at. Remember we were talking about distressed assets? We had talked about Polygon, and we had talked about historical risk factors. And that was on Ben's site. And I said Polygon's a very distressed asset. I think it could do quite well. 7 days is up 6%, just saying. Immutable, 12%. Stacks. There's a lot of different things in layer 2s. And I still don't think that Bitcoin is dead, or excuse me, Ethereum is dead. I think L2s could do quite well. And if you're looking at something to kind of diversify into, this is what I could see is doing very well because there's a lot of TVL locked up in Ethereum. And that would lead me to this piece, which was friends of friends had told me about, hey, take a look at this new one coming out, layer 2 called Abstract. It's not out yet. I don't own it yet, but I will at some point. And I was like, well, who's this by? This is by the people who made Pudgy Penguins. They secured $11 million in funding to develop Abstract, a new Ethereum Layer 2 blockchain. Company behind the popular NFT brand Pudgy Penguins. And just so you know, Pudgy Penguins is not just NFTs. They're actually branched out to physical, real, well, I guess you can call them real world assets, but they're just toys and actually merchandise and things like that. But they're no small feat because they're in over 2,000 Walmart stores. Let me tell you, if you can get into Walmart, you're doing something good. That's a lot of money to be sloshing around for just some little merchandise things that they have. And that's a lot of money going. So this layer 2, they're going to build on that. Luca Netz, CEO of Igloo, explained that during the development of Pudgy Penguins, they identified limitations in layer 2 solutions. Project employs ZK cryptography, open source technology, low cost, rapid, secure transactions. Here's their uniqueness. What sets the Abstract apart from the layer 2 is that Abstract adopts a consumer-centric approach, emphasizing direct distribution and collab with yet to be announced individuals. So I reach out to Luca. I didn't know this guy was homeless. At one point he was. So again, it's a reminder. It doesn't matter where you start, it's where you end up. From homeless to making his first million, 25-year-old CEO of NFT Collection launched a toy line at Walmart, making millions and millions. Now we're going to do a layer 2 solution. So we'll see how it goes. But what I did is I brought on Luca and I asked him some questions like, I don't understand, like there's a uniqueness to this, but what really is it? So this is about a 6 to 7 minute interview. I wanted to make it super quick. So just take a listen to this and we will go from there. And then we'll do a little Q&A after this. So check this out. Thanks for coming on the show for the very first time.
Hey, Rob, thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, man, this is different. I'm interested in L2s. It's good to see, but you know, there's a lot of different intricacies that only you can really give to people who are watching this video. So I got really 5 questions. The first question is, of course, how much did you pay me for this? The second one is, what is Abstract essentially? What makes Abstract different? How did you guys actually get here and the whole progression? And then what's next for Abstract? So the very first question, which we have to ask, because in the comments it will come up, Rob is a dirty shill. How much did you pay me for this interview?
Man, if I'm paying people for interviews, I'm not doing a good job. So I'm happy to say I paid you $0.
Exactly right. Now I will probably be investing in this at some point, so everybody knows that I do not talk about things I want to invest into. But just to get that clear, second question: what is Abstract? We just talked about it, but if you could just give us a little your own take.
Yeah, so Abstract is the consumer chain. Ultimately, when exploring for different chains and different ecosystems to power the Pudgy Penguins products that are in Walmart and Target, we ultimately came to the conclusion that a majority of chains are building in the general purpose mindset. And naturally, I think that's fragmented, and ultimately, I don't think it is optimized for the best consumer experience. Right. And so we kind of saw this huge elephant in the room and this huge opportunity around a consumer chain specifically built on EVM. And in general, I think nobody in crypto is owning a specific consumer experience. So Abstract is an Ethereum L2 built on the ZK stack that is built first and foremost for the consumer. We're a consumer first and consumer centric chain. And ultimately, we've got some really great things, up our sleeves that we're going to be announcing here soon around how we think we're going to do things differently than everyone else. So long story short, Abstract's the consumer chain, and we're here to pioneer the consumer crypto revolution.
So, okay, so let's unpack that. When you talk about the consumer chain itself, how does that work in the grand scheme of things? Because there is really no physical products except for what you guys are rolling out or have already rolled out in itself. So kind of break that down just real quick for us.
So I think what we learned was consumer and blockchain is not synonymous. And to actually build a great consumer experience that's built on blockchain rails, you have to focus on a certain niche. In this case, we're focusing on fun and virality and really just not focusing on other things. And so generally, I think a majority of blockchains that you see today, try to do DeFi and try to do games and try to do, data and, social and try to do all these different things under the hood. And ultimately, I think that allows them not or prevents them from doing one thing really well. And so from our perspective, and I'll probably give you a little bit of alpha here, we're really focusing on a consumer platform. And this consumer platform is going to be, powered by, Abstract rails. And ultimately, this is going to be the most clear and cohesive and curated experience that I think anybody's seen from any blockchain.
Gotcha. Well, I guess that would kind of roll into our second part here, which is, and we talked about this, very briefly, but how does it make it different? Because I know we're talking about a consumer-centric chain. That is fantastic. But we've got a lot of L2s out there, and we've got ones rolling out every single week, it seems like. So how do you guys differentiate, and what are you going to do here?
I think it's really two facets. I think the first facet is we want to make the 0 to 1 onboarding and discovery the best in crypto. So right now, if you tell your mom to go to Ethereum or Solana and go to participate in the ecosystem, there's really no clue. You have to be somewhat technological, you have to be technically savvy and adapt to ultimately what this environment looks and feels like. But ultimately, if you want blockchains to power, applications and experiences with hundreds of millions of people, it has to feel like Instagram. It has to feel like Steam. It has to feel like Apple App Store. It has to feel like Twitch. And ultimately, I think this is where a lot of people have failed, and ultimately where I think a majority of blockchains haven't focused. And so from our perspective, it starts and stops with this platform. I actually look at us as probably a platform first blockchain. And so it's really unorthodox to, I think, how people have built in the past. But ultimately, I think this is going to be how people are building for the future. This idea that, this new novel tech that people have been preaching and these new exciting narratives, I think that stuff is over, because I think the actual blockchain tech is becoming commoditized. And now I think it's going to be a game of platforms and who can build the best business. And so from our perspective, we want to build digital Disneyland. We want to build a hub of fun. And ultimately, we want this hub of fun to be powered by, abstract rails. So I think the two focuses for us is, first, we want the best 0 to 1 onboarding experience. I want somebody to go to this, abstract portal. I want them to be able to make a wallet almost instantly. I want that wallet to basically follow them across all these different applications without constant signatures and constant sign-ins, and really just abstract all the complexities away, right? The intent for the name was, it was purposeful in the sense that, we believe blockchain is the back end, not the front end. And all of that stuff needs to be abstracted away. And that starts and stops with our portal. And the second side of it is ultimately the user base and the community. Pudgy Penguins has one of the best communities in crypto today. And what we want to do is really grow that ecosystem by kind of putting this marketing machine and this, hyperbolic, group of people that we already have in our ecosystem, and really just grow this in a way that nobody's ever seen before. And then probably the third one is we have a creator flywheel that I think is going to be super interesting. And I think there's going to be no better place in crypto for creators to create than this abstract portal. So I'm excited to debut that here shortly.
Yeah, that sounds good. Faster, cheaper, easier, and make it so simple that my grandma can do it. I like all those aspects to it. So you talked about Pudgy Penguins. That would really lead us into one of our last questions, which is, how did you guys get here? Because, from there to here is a big leap. So how did this all work?
Yeah, so, we bought Pudgy Penguins 2.5 years ago for $2.5 million. We did it because we saw what was going on in the NFT space. And I saw what everyone was doing. And I thought there was nothing that anybody was doing that we couldn't do just as good, if not better. And for the last 2.5 years, we've been building a business, one that I think has, some of the most important foundational pieces that I think we've seen from any consumer brand that's been incubated out of crypto. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we're in Walmart, we're in Target, we're getting billions of views every single month across different social channels. And, a lot of these products that we're looking to make specifically for mass needed to be powered by an L2. And when looking at the different L2 ecosystems, we just thought to ourselves, look, we need a consumer first L2. We need a consumer experience that I think is optimized for mass. And just because all these different chains are doing so many different things, nobody's just really hyper-focused on this one initiative. And so we saw the opportunity to become the consumer chain. We acquired a company called Frame, which is led by, which was led by one of the best developers in crypto in Saigar. We brought that team together, and now we're all contributing to Abstract, which ultimately is not only going to power Pudgy Penguin products and all the things that we have going on, but is going to allow people who want to build in the same ethos that Pudgy Penguin's been building for the last 2.5 years to do it without the friction that we've been experiencing hopping around these different ecosystems.
Yeah, well said. And it goes back to an old adage: if you're selling to everybody, you're selling to nobody. You really want to be hyper focused and really focus on what your actual demographic actually is and focus. So that would lead us to our last one. What's next? You talked a lot about where we are now, but what's our next steps? And let's take it out a year, 2 years, and even if you want to go 5 years, sure.
Yeah, so I think for us, at least in the next 90 days, we got to take this thing to mainnet. So I'm really excited for that. Over the course of the next year, I think what we want, just to give you people some clarity, there's a big Igloo behind me. Igloo is really the holding company to Pudgy Penguins and is a core contributor to Abstract. I think on one side of the spectrum for Pudgy Penguins, we want to be the face of crypto. We want to be the mascot of crypto. And on the other side of it, we want to be, the face of penguins around the world. So when you think penguins, I want people to think Pudgy Penguins. From Abstract, I want people to believe and see a new way of how to build blockchains. I think we're going to set a meta and pioneer a new way of how people are looking at these things. And I want to own the consumer chain. And when you think consumer chain, I want you to think abstract. And I want to do something that crypto's never seen before, which is, create a business and a top of the funnel and an inflow of new users that we so desperately need. And so that's probably, I think, our 12 to 24 month focus. Obviously, it gets a lot bigger and grander from there. But I got some aces up my sleeve that I'm going to keep to myself.
We'll see how it works out. Well, I will say this, Luca. I like what you're saying. I like your hat. Make crypto great again. So everybody, if you want to find out more, there's a great website. I linked in the description. Also, you can follow them on socials. But Luca, thanks so much for stopping by. We do appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob.
Oh, yeah. So again, Luca, we appreciate you stopping by, especially going through, didn't know Luca was having some issues with his dogs, went through surgery, and hopefully dog makes a nice recovery. And lastly, before we get into Q&A, everybody, if you want to touch grass, you want to do something, I'm opening up one of the Telegram groups. It's called Monday Max Push-Ups. And all you do is just Monday, you max out your push-ups. I know like people will say, what is this all about, Rob? It's because I see that people stare at their screens too much. We get too consumed with the fact of like, oh, this has got to go up, that has got to go up. Maybe just take a break for some things. So if you're so inclined to, take a look at this Telegram group. It's run by me. And all we do is just max out push-ups on Monday. And that's it. And that's it for today. So everybody, thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Like today's video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Everything we talk about is time sensitive. Now, if you want to go over and do a little Q&A, I'll answer all your questions. And there's a bunch of them. So we'll go from that. But if you got to take off, go watch football, go enjoy your Sunday before Mondays hit you. But that's it for today. Thanks much, everybody. Now let's get into a little Q&A. All right. Let's see. Uzi had a good comment before he even started this show today. He said, my bags were 70-30 alts. Now it's 50% because the alts are going up like crazy. It was the same thing by Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank. And he talked about Kevin O'Leary. And he talked about how when he got into crypto, this is years ago. And of course, he lied about it or whatever. But he got into it before he even said he did. When he got into it, he would talk about how it just kind of overtook his whole portfolio because the price appreciation was unprecedented. He had never seen anything do that well in real estate, in traditional equities, in precious metals. And he's like, this is amazing. I think that's part of the reason why people get into it. And then they really start to do their research and they figure out like, oh, well, Bitcoin's the best because of this. Altcoins can do something like this. And if you want to go down that rabbit hole, sure. So like with Uzi, this doesn't surprise me. And I think as time goes on, if you're into altcoins, some of you aren't, and that's fine. I've been pretty heavy Bitcoin lately, but we dabble into altcoins. I think as time goes on, you're going to see your altcoins start to really overtake your ROI in your portfolio and become a much bigger part of your portfolio. But the thing you have to remember is this, and I'm trying to stress this to everybody. I am not a diamond hands guy forever person. If you want to follow something like that, there's a plethora of different YouTube channels out there. One of my rules, it's the last rule, number 5, is take profits. You can do everything. You can write it all the way up like we just took a look at in the very beginning with CTO Larson. You can write it all the way up, but if you don't take profits, you're going to write them all the way down. Talk to everybody who invested into Luna. Talk to everybody who invested into the FTX token, or the platform itself, Voyager token, Celsius token, and BlockFi across the way. It doesn't matter how much you make. It's how much you keep. At some point, you have to lock in those profits. So, Uzi, congratulations for you, but don't get ahead of yourself. Everybody. Rob's 6th rule. This is a good one. Always keep one Bitcoin. It's not a bad rule to implement. I will say this. If Bitcoin goes to where we think it's going to go, there's not enough millionaires in the world to hold one Bitcoin. Think of that. So if you own anything above 0.1, 0.2 Bitcoin, and it goes where everybody thinks it's going to go, or some people think it's going to go, you're going to do extremely well. So even to have one full Bitcoin, I think is going to be crazy. Maybe. The clip that I just said, hopefully somebody will find it in like 10, 20 years and be like, can you believe those people, how lucky they were to get it below this amount? Man, that's crazy. Because trust me, in 2017, when I got in, I got in below 10K for Bitcoin. Unfortunately, I wrote it all the way up and all the way down, but whatever. But everybody says the same thing. Once the bull run starts and we get these like unprecedented numbers, everybody says the same thing. Oh, it's easy. You just bought and held. Okay. We'll see how that works out for everybody. All right. Where are we? Let me come up here. Gas fees said, that's a good point. When interest rates drop, TradFi will look for yield. They have to gain something on their investments, right? So if they're not going to get it into T-bills, treasuries, if they're not looking at 3, 6, 1, 10, and 20, where are they going to find yield? They're back to taking risk again. And that's the whole beauty of liquidity into the market. That's the whole beauty of when you cut the federal rates. So if they can do that, they're like, well, I don't have to pay as much for these loans. Maybe I can take a loan out for much cheaper at whatever it is, 3, 4, 5%. And then I can go and put it into some kind of riskier assets, which is what we're taking a look at with Japan, what they're doing over there. And I can maybe invest into something that can appreciate farther than the 5%. And maybe I want to keep myself up with inflation and not put it into just fiat cash. This is what makes the world go round. And this is also what creates a massive amount of volatility. But I agree. When these things happen, you're going to see a lot of entries into the market. But I could be wrong. Who knows? That's funny. Actually, I thought that when Luca first came on. Let's see. One Punch Man workout. Pretty much. You're welcome. Beardy's here. Beardy, thanks again, man. I know that wasn't easy. That interview was rough. I know some people were saying, well, why wasn't Beardy more upbeat? Probably because he lost a big amount of most of his investments. I mean, would you come in here with a big smile and have everything together? Probably not. Just saying. But anyhow, man, thanks for coming on. That was a good one. Let's see. I know people were saying that Luca sounds like Ben from Into the Cryptoverse. Maybe. Ben's rather unique in the way that he talks, though. Maybe I could see it. Full control. Marco says, no, it won't be Uptober. It'll be Downtober. Hey, it's a funny thing. Every time we think we know where the market's going, what does it do? It does the exact opposite. And of course, when we take a look at these, oh, I forgot to do this. Would you guys like to see some price predictions? Not from me. But from... So I posted this today, and I had this on X. I said, hey, good morning. We're almost there. Give me your best predictions. I might have to feature them on today's show. So let's see what people's predictions are. Steven, you have to know, is probably... he's one of the bigger degenerates or degens I've ever seen in crypto. But boy, did he make a lot of money. And he's also the owner of the San Juan Smokehouse, where we do the meetups, which we'll be doing again in November. So if you're in Puerto Rico, come on by. But he says, moon math predictions for my biggest bags. Bitcoin, 80,000 for October. Actually, I could see it. I mean, the sentiment is there, so who knows? Solana, 265, new all-time high. Now, that would be something. Bonk, new all-time high. $1 billion cat, 0.08. Tau, and Crown. Oh, Crown is his... it's a racing game built on the Solana rails, and he's big into that. I actually talked to that guy. Very good guy, smart, behind that ecosystem. I think he'll do well. Then Billy Cat. Uzi, 70K again. Dez, Oktoberfest. Beardy, EOS to $3. It could go to $3 if it's at 5. I don't know what EOS is at right now, but one of our biggest losers, me and Beardy, I think are the last holders of EOS. Let me know, Barry says, here's my hopium chart. All right. No way. I think we're looking at vastly longer time frames. Wow. Bitcoin USDT, 58,000. This is over a time continuum. Wow. 3,470%, $500,000. Okay. Hey, that was actually, you know what? That's actually my prediction. My prediction for, that's crazy. My prediction for 2025 was that Bitcoin will be somewhere between $5 and $500,000. So if it goes above that, then I will definitely come out here and say, I'm sorry. I was wrong. It hit 573,627. My apologies. I will step down into my own private island. All right, good stuff. Let's see. Azar crypto will be up between 0% and to the moon. That's a good one. This because there, yeah. I think we're still in slow grind through elections. Garcon says it's a pretty good idea actually. If we can get through, I mean, October will be one of those. I think the months that it'll be up, maybe a little bit down, but usually it is October. But if it's not, it's a funny thing. If it's not truly Uptober and we're just sitting there and things are chopping sideways, I don't know about you, but I don't get millions of dollars every month. You know, revenue generates or comes in from the long-term and short-term rentals. They come in through the sports facility. I get paid a massive amount from X or Twitter. I think I made $32.17 for the last 2 weeks. So I'm a baller. And as the money rolls in, then that's when I start to, buy more crypto. So if it does do that, I'm like, well, that's fine because I know what's coming. I think I know what's coming next year. And that's okay. Entry says World Mobile Token, the biggest opportunity in Web3, over 100,000 daily users. I got to tell you, it's weird. I mean, they actually do a real thing. They actually give coverage, talk, text, and data plans to people throughout in different parts of the United States. I think they're in the EU now, correct me in the comment section, in parts of Africa. So I'm like, they really do things. And of course, people say, what about helium? Yeah, helium's doing the same thing. I mean, not the exact same thing, but they're actually providing coverage. But they are using cell phone towers that are with T-Mobile, so whatever. But they work, and that's all I really care about. That's real world utility. Great. See how it grades. Jeanette says Bitcoin 74K, Turbo, a penny. It could see 2 cents. Ethereum is good. Rod. Maybe gradual up in price with pullbacks every week to a week and a half. We just keep buying till 2025 when things go crazy. I can go with that. Hi, Mark. And this is a good one. Too many people think Uptober is going to be huge, which in turn goes the exact opposite ways. I call Redtober 25%. This is my favorite one. This could be face melting. Oh, AI generation. All right. So that's your daily dose of hopium and price predictions. Who knows if they're going to be true? Who's this guy? Jesus Martinez. Man, this kid's been everywhere. What's up, Jesus? Nothing. Just doing some live streams. How you doing, buddy? Awesome. I'm a giver. Beardy, no denying that, man. Beardy's one of those guys that, he works in hospice, which is end-of-life care. And if you ever worked in that industry, you know how difficult that is. People that work there, special people. Death is all around you, and you have to help patients and families transition that one. That is not easy. So sometimes we trust a little bit too much, These things happen. So, yeah, it's a shame. But we got to be more vigilant, right? We got to be more vigilant. My prediction for 25 basis points, negative 25, is 270K. That would fall between my $5 to 500,000 Bitcoin price prediction, so I'll go with it. Nailed it. Keep some dry powder. That's another one. And it's a good point because we all get to this point in our investment journey where we think that every day we have to do something specific and we have to hedge against this and we have to do that and we have to make sure that we buy this dip because everybody talks about buy the dip. Then we got to diamond hands, and then we got to pull back, and then maybe there's some new project coming out. Sometimes you don't have to do anything. Sometimes one of the best things you can do is nothing. Like this last big drop, I said, look, you have your options. You can buy this dip, but I will remind you just, before this last one, like 3 months ago, we had another massive dip. And I go, you can buy this one or you can just do nothing. Just wait it out. Because people were really freaking out, especially with talks of recession. Remember that? And I said, look, you can either buy it or you can do nothing. But if you want to sell into weakness, that's you. I'm not your dad. You do what you want to do. But I'm just saying, probably not a good idea right now. And it worked out. But Darren says it right. He goes, hey, we should have some dry powder on the side. That's exactly it. That's why people don't get it. Like, why do always talk about taking profits. Because of the time when we actually have that big, massive drop, we can do these. Now, right now, I'm not taking profits, obviously. Link in the description when I'm going to sell 80% of my crypto. Watch that video. Talk about it all the time. I will come on this channel. I will tell everybody, I just sold 80% of my crypto. Have a great day. And then I stop this channel and I don't come back until the bear market, which is the exact opposite of what people usually do. You don't need me in the bull market. You don't. That's a good question. Risk levels. So there's this website. And go down the CRYPTOVERSE. See these things over here? Risk levels. These are historically looking at the different risk levels across a continuum of time. So let's just take Bitcoin, shall we? All right. So we're talking about risk levels. If you want to see mathematically what a price prediction would look like for Bitcoin, at the top of Bitcoin at 184,000, that's at 1. Right now, we were at right in the smack in the middle, 0.5. And of course, when things become less risky, meaning that the price drops, even though there's never a shortage of people who say it's going to go to 0, even though they've been wrong for the last 14 years, but whatever. As it goes down, instead of investing, $100, when it goes down to 0.4, you invest 150. When it goes to 0.3, you invest 200. And inversely is true. You can be the Michael Saylor and go, hey, we're going to keep continuously buying the top, but Michael Saylor is a billionaire and he has a corporation and he can do a lot of things that you can't do. But if you want to go that route, that's fine. Again, not financial advice, but as the risk levels go up, maybe you don't put as much in and you start to think about selling. So that's pretty much it. And what we're talking about was these risk levels. Was I was showing everybody, I'm like, hey, if we take a look at these risk levels, there's some things that are seriously undervalued. Matic was the one. I think it was Matic and Algo. Yeah. Algorand is sitting at 0.15. That's crazy. That's a good project. And then Matic, or now called Pole, is at 0.15. So what does that look like? It looks pretty depressing, quite honestly. Nah, that's the Bitcoin risk. Here we go. So 0.15, it's at 42 cents. What does that look like just getting back to where Bitcoin is at 0.5? $1. $1 from 40 cents, that's a nice 2x. But then things get crazy as it goes to 0.6, 0.7. Let's just say it goes to 0.8. That's $4. You just 10x your investment. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that's why I take a look at risk levels. So I hope that answers your question. If you want to take a look at those more so, links in the description for Ben's site. Some is free and some is paid. And I don't really know. I can't keep things straight because there's so much stuff on there. So you just got to kind of play around with it. All right. What else? DJ Fun is right. DCA and DCA. You know who had a really good take on this one? My man Wes from Smart Money Crypto. If you guys haven't seen him, he's got a very simple premise. It's very smart. What he does is he uses a website called Arkham. And Arkham just takes a look at on-chain analysis and shows you like some of these whale wallets. And he just kind of follows these whales wallets and just say, oh, this whale wallet just purchased a bunch of like, $1,000 worth of tomato tomcat coin or whatever, some crazy stuff. And he'll talk about it on his channel. And then he does other things in his Patreon, of course. But on the channel, he'll say like, hey, these guys just put a bunch of money into this one. It's probably going to pop off. And it doesn't work every single time, but I think it will when we get into like the big bull market. But as he's shown, and he goes into that, what he does something very, very smart. He takes that investment, he lets it double, and he takes out his initial investment. Right? We talk about this, the half and half method. And then what he does is he takes that, he goes, I don't know where it's going, but if it goes up, great. But what I can do with that initial investment, I take that and I put it into some other different project that's out there. And I wait for that to double. And then and he goes around, he's got like his hands in like 10 different projects right now. And he's all massively up. And he just gets to sit back and just go, well, if it goes to zero, I really don't care because that's not my money. I'm playing with house money. Let's find him. Actually, sweet Mary and Joseph, come on. And actually, if you just go on my account. There he is, my man Wes. And he even talked about it. He goes, and when he's up, like, I don't know how much he's up on Sui. But I said, hey, I watched the video and I understand why he did it. And people are, saying, oh, you shouldn't have done that because you're going to make a lot, it's going to keep going up. But he'll take that, he'll make his profits, he'll keep his initial, the house money in, and then he'll go for something else risky. And then it just keeps going around. I'm like, that's a pretty good idea. But again, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Check out my man, Smart Money Crypto. You can find him. You can Google on YouTube, essentially, Smart Money Crypto, or I have the direct link on my X account. So yeah. Shannon says, you are so adapted, Dad. Worst dad ever. Keep saying the same things until I'm blue in the face. And I will turn this car around. All right. Beardy, yeah, me too. Need to start golfing. You need to start golfing more. At some point, got to do something. Not good at chess like Ben, so I got to figure out something new. And I can't keep playing these other sports. My body's breaking down every day. This is what happens. It's a good question. It's a really good question. Rob, what coins have you kept from 2017? I mean, in 2021, I didn't sell everything. And actually, there's links in the description where I show you my strategy from my first strategy in 2017, which was nothing. The last one in 2021, and also my current strategy. And they're all in the description. But from 2017, what have I kept? Bitcoin, because I never sell all my Bitcoin. I think that's a bad play. That's really not a great play if we think we know where it's going to go. I still have Ethereum that I bought all the way back then. I still have Cardano that I bought all the way back then. Oh, funny story. I still have some of my XRP because, that was supposed to be the next great thing. I never got rid of it fast enough. But on this one, I will. And that's pretty much about it. In 2017, I didn't really have a ton of different cryptos. I got into some shady stuff that is at zero. So I can't even count those because they're worthless. But yeah, if you had to take a look at it, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, XRP. And if you notice, that's the majority of like what was available back then. That was like top 10. If Cardano were a girl, would you marry, date, or block her for the bull? If I was single, let's see, would you marry, date? I would date her because I'd be like, you got a kind of a shaky past. And I don't know, what kind of partnerships you are doing right now. I know you talk a good game. I know that you say that you're very fast with transactions, but I'd like to see that in real time. And I just I can't trust you because you've broken my heart too many times. And that's what I would say about Cardano. All right, so 117, sweet token unlock. Noonie, that's right. Let me take a look. There's a website. I want to say it's token unlocks. Yeah. Here, let me show you. It's a good point. This is something we should all make sure that we understand, that there's a difference between max supply and circulating supply. And there's a big difference between, what is actually out. Don't show this again. This is a great website. If you want to sign up for it, it's pretty good. But let's see if I can get into it. Sweet. All right. Oh, no. Upcoming event. 1 day, 4 hours, and 34 minutes. They're going to release 2.4% of the circulating supply. Guess who that's going to? Probably investors. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is, if I'm investing in a SWI and I know how great it is, will the investors also know how great it is and just hold on to it? Or will they dump on me or some unsuspecting noob because they want to take profits? Because I got to tell you, if it's investors, I'm not sure if it is or not. I haven't done my research. I'm just kind of, usually when there's unlocks, it's usually because of early round investors or some other entities. That if this is happening and going on, you have to take a look at it and say, am I going to have a price dump in 1 day and 4 hours? And people would say, well, who cares about 2.4% of the circulating supply? Because it goes like this. I don't think it's sell. No, that's not it. Profits. That's not it either. I think it's under sell. Sell pressure. So remember, when people are taking profits, it's not just like, just $1 billion, no big deal. It's because it's not a very massive order book. So when you have people who have, you have thin order books, then you start to see the price go down and it drops exponentially. You have a herd mentality and they go, oh, it's dumping, I got to dump. And then when they start dumping, the bots go, hey, everybody's dumping, I should dump. And then it just is like a nice big flywheel effect. Margin trade, liquidation, slippage, arbitrage, whatever. So in maybe a day, we might see some big price action for SWE. And some people will say, well, I'm going to wait till that very last moment to where it gets up here. You can try that, but might be something to look at. I own very little SWE. I don't really care if it goes up or not. I mean, if it goes down, I'll just stick around. I think the big play in 2025. But if you need some, I don't know, some dry powder, need to pay some bills, taking a look at that new fresh kidney that could keep you off dialysis, whatever. Maybe you want to start to take some profits. Block for sure. Digital dating advice. The worst advice of all time. Yeah. Dang, my wife is needing me for something. I got to bounce. Great day. Thanks, Rob. Much love, Beardy. Listen to the wife, man. Don't want to have issues on the weekend. Just whatever. Do this, do that. Let me watch some football. And that's it. Nonya says, yeah, 2% of 4 billion is 80 million. All right, got me. What's Chamath and the gang dump Slaw on the plebs, so why not? It could be too. Ian says, what's your DCA right now? Bitcoin's still every day. And that just goes off without a hitch. I'm in there, I bought some Chainlink. I bought a little Cardano, some Solana. I had SWE, but I stopped that for a bit. There were some other ones. What was it? That was pretty much about it. There's not really much going on right now for me. I'm just kind of taking a look at it. Near protocol. Let me see. I'll tell you what's in my portfolio. Here, take a look at this. There you go. But that's not all encompassing. I have a lot. As you see at the very bottom there, it says other 67 plus. And this was created on January 2024. So things have changed in the price or the total percentage of my portfolio. I'll just say that. But if there's anything missing on here, let me take a look at my Tangent wallet. Oh, speaking of which, congratulations to Tangent Wallet. You guys were able to get native staking, not where like a Wallet Connect stuff where you had to like connect and open yourself up a risk, but native staking on the cold storage device, just like what Ledger has. And they have, I believe it's Tron. I know it's Solana, and there's one more. So I asked for this. I begged for this. And you guys said, yeah, Q4 2024. I'm like, a bunch of liars. But you did it. So egg on my face. But I'm very happy. So let's see. Solana, Bonk, Pith. Oh, I do have Crown. Huh. Crown. I have $2.47 of WenCoin. I don't even know what that is. Near Chainlink. Oh, I have Injective. This is a revelation. Immutable X, Ethereum, Illuvium. Tether, USD, Arbitrum. I have 9 cents worth of Decentraland. Yeah, I dumped that stuff. It's Avalanche. I got a lot of Toncoin. I got a lot of Avalanche. I have 10 set Tether on the BNB Smart Chain. I have BNB, Tron, Caspa, Cosmos, Genso Kishi, Polygon, Farcana. No one knows what that is. I have 94 cents worth of Stellar. And that's it. I mean, that's on that one. The Ledger's got other stuff on it. So yeah. Aaron says, Tangent doesn't support ADA staking. Sorry about that. But if you're looking for a stake pool, there's a link in the description. DNAUS, here for you. And that's, I can't leave it with a shill. Let's see. Oh, Rob is more degenerate than me. Who'd have thunk it? That's it for today. So look, everybody, like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll be doing live stream tomorrow. I think on Tuesdays we're going to be indisposed, but I will see you guys tomorrow. So thanks so much for stopping by on a Sunday. Again, lots of links in the description. Check all that stuff out. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you. And I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.